So welcome everyone, welcome to our session today. Before beginning our session, I would like to start by giving a short introduction to her journey. Her Journey is an initiative of Girls in Tech Nepal in collaboration with Shequal Foundation, in which every month we invite an inspiring woman with us who has set a remarkable example in the society with her contributions. The idea is to listen and learn from her journey. We want to highlight the amazing works done by women in this industry and present the role models in front of you all. This month too, we have an amazing guest with us. She is Mrs. Sweta Chandak. I would like to give a short introduction of Sweta ma'am. She's a software consultant in London, UK. She has 15 years of experience in writing code in different technologies and frameworks. She was born in the beautiful city of Kolkata, from where she did her schooling and bachelor's in computer science. And she did her master's degree from VIT Vellore, India. Since then, she has worked with Tata Consultancy Services, started her own freelance company, and has been providing software consultancy services to some of the most well-known UK companies like Financial Times, GeoPlace, Sky, HMRC, Home Office, and many more. We are very excited to learn more about your journey, ma'am. Welcome to you. Welcome to the session, and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. And first, so I'll start. Okay. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to start by expressing my gratitude to everybody. And of course, especially girls in tech for thinking of me and giving me this opportunity. I think it's a great initiative and encouraging women because we need each other to grow. And it's just initiatives like this that can help us in the long run. I wish it was there when I started my journey, but I'm so pleased that some of us can come here now and share our journey so that if anybody faces similar issues, they can know that they are not the only ones who faced such problems, and there is nothing to worry, and we can encourage and look after each other. So of course, for nothing begins in life without being grateful. Grateful for anything and everything that we have in life. And if we don't express it, and as I've written here, that it's a present, and if you don't unwrap it, it's just wastage. So first, I would like to express my gratitude towards God, of course, because without his blessings, there is nothing. And then, of course, then the close representative of God's, which are our parents, my mom, my dad, my family, every single one of them. And of course, like with family, what happens is that when you are growing up, you take them for granted because they are blood relations. And then when you grow up, you get married, and of course the partner that you have. And I would also like to express my gratitude towards him, because without his support, I don't think I would have landed anywhere. So, and among everybody, I mean, a special mention to my dad, because he's the one who encouraged, he created a culture. He created a culture of education in the family. I come from a community in India where women, they are not that much, like women education was extremely optional at that time. And as a kid, I never realized why my dad is forcing me so much to study. And I would just think like, he's so mean, he's not letting me play, but he's not letting me do things. But I realize now that his intentions were always very pure. He never discriminated between me, my siblings, my brothers. And so we got the same treatment. Until now, that attitude has lingered with me, that I was never told as a kid that I can't do something just because I was a girl. And that thing has stayed with me. And even now, if somebody tells me that, I find it really awkward. So I want to just express my gratitude towards my dad for being like he was, because you need that support, you need that thing to go anywhere in life. And of course, it's it's my father. If I say, if my father, he gave me the wings to fly, it's my husband who gave me the sky, and it's my family who gave me the strength so that I can take the leap and do, and fly freely in the sky and achieve whatever I have achieved, very little, whatever I've achieved so far. So, yeah, and of course, of course, gratitude also cannot be without expressing, I can't complete it without saying thanks to all the beautiful people I have worked, with in the industry. Some of them have been remarkable. When I had doubt, like, should I do this session? why should I do? Am I capable? They all encouraged me. Yes, you can, you should. And that gave me the strength. And I want to express my gratitude towards them too. So I'll start by talking a little bit about me so that you know who I am and where I stand right now in life. So I was born, of course, in the beautiful cultural city of Kolkata. It's one of the most vibrant places with a beautiful, like scenic beauty and everything. And it's just, this is your roots. So this is where I come from. And I traveled all over India for different phases of my life. I studied in West Bengal, Kolkata, did my master's from South India, Vellore, then moved north and worked in Delhi for a couple of years. And then I got married to my husband who belongs to West India. So basically, I have seen the flavor of the entire country. So I was born, so I did my schooling from there, bachelor's from Calcutta. I did master's in computers from VIT. Right now, I'm living in London with my family. I have a beautiful small family, my husband and my daughter, and I'm having a very good life here. So in terms from my professional experience and my personal expertise, which I would like to describe both, because if you want to have a career, it's not just your technical skills that is going to take you places. It's also your personality. If you, it's the right combination of the two, which I think is the magic behind your success. So after I did my master's in India, I've got around 15 plus years of software experience. I've worked across different frameworks at different times. At that, in the beginning, there was Struts, EJB. I worked on that. Spring Hibernate later on. Play framework now. Java, Scala. Then databases, MySQL, NoSQL databases. So I've covered quite a range of development style as well, microservices architecture. So, quite a bit of experience in ACA as well. So continuously, whatever the technology has evolved over the years, I have tried to keep myself up to date with that. I have worked in India. I have experience of working in India at Tata Consultancy Services. I got married. I worked here at Sky, Monetize, Home Office, GeoPlace. And currently I'm working as a consultant for HMRC in terms of as a capacity as a software developer. And my personal qualities that I relate most to is perseverance. I want to highlight why I'm covering these, because it's very important that you may have the right mix of things. And for me, that has I cannot talk about one and not talk about another when I'm when I'm talking about my journey. So perseverance. I mean, I think if I set my mind on something, I usually try to get it. I'm very honest in my efforts. So if I say I will not set my mind on anything, but if I commit to something, that commitment is very important and it will never be less than 100%. And second point is outspoken. Being outspoken, I know, is sometimes from the community that we come from, especially South Asian. A girl being outspoken is not a very quality that is related to a good personality. But outspoken doesn't mean that you just talk all the time. But outspoken also means that expressing your opinion. As a woman, we need to express our opinion. It may be right, it may be wrong, but that's all right. But I need to speak my mind. I have my opinion. I have a voice. And that is why I said my father gave me that voice. I was never told to hold back, never told I can't do something because I'm a girl. So, and it's very important that we raise because if we don't have a voice, who is going to talk on our behalf? We have to talk. Everybody, have to be their own volunteers, speak for themselves. So that's a quality that I think is quite important, especially if you want to have a career in IT. I'm very competitive by nature. And by competitive, again, I don't think of it as a bad quality, because competitive is quite healthy. When you participate in a competition, you should give your best. But if you come last, you should be able to laugh at yourself. You should be able to be happy that you did your best. And this is where you reached at. And I think I'm able to do that. I am never upset if I fail at something. I'm always trying to see the good side of my attempt. But when I'm participating, when I'm competing, and when I'm doing something, I'm really trying to do my best. But sometimes the best may not be enough, and it's okay. It's okay to be like that. And the last thing is the communication. In any field you choose, I think communication is extremely important. Developing good communication skill is extremely important, because if you can't express yourself in the right way, put your point across, to the other person, in a polite way, in a way that they can understand you, then everything else is useless, because then you are just a person who is talking their mind, but if you don't talk it in the right way, it's useless. So these things, I think, for my career has helped me, and that's why I've shared these. So why share my story? The one who can share will always have an advantage in life, because when you share, you're giving something, and then you will get something through karma back in your life. If it is my experience, I've when I was first approached to do this, the first question that came to my mind is that, why do I even need to share my story? What is there so special about it that I need to come online? There was a sense of self-doubt. Then I thought to myself that, I looked upon my career and I saw that, yes, there were the few challenges that I faced, some textbook challenges that women usually face in IT. And if my sharing that will encourage somebody else, then this session is very useful, and I must do it. I must share my story. So there might be things that, you might think that there is nothing. I don't know whether I will say something new that you haven't heard before. I don't know whether I'll be able to, give you an exceptional tip that you had never thought about. I don't think so. But through my journey, if there is any single instance that you can relate yourself to, and in future also, if you face any problem, and if it is similar to mine, and you can think about it at that point, and if it helps you, then I think it's worth sharing my story. So that's why here I am to share my story today. So I prepared this presentation as challenges and success, because every time I had a challenge in my life, it gave me an opportunity that resulted in a success. And every time I had a success in my life, whether it's personal, that had presented like a challenge in front of me. So I want to share my journey as challenges and successes, and just tell you what happened when, and through career perspective, what I did. So the first thing I was going to share is this, through my childhood. And this is the feeling that I felt when I was a kid. Not good enough. Why not good enough? I grew up in a very beautiful family. At one point, there were 27 people in my house. And imagine there was like 6-7 kids, a huge family with great grandparents, parents, aunt, uncle, a loving family in reality. But where did I stand? I stood nowhere. Why? Because I always felt as a lost girl, an abandoned person, because I had siblings and they were exceptionally good. It's not that I wasn't good. They were exceptionally good. And that constant comparison with my siblings just turned me off completely. I didn't want to do anything in life. I felt left out. I felt unloved to a certain extent. I was made fun of by my family in a very casual way about my skin color. But I was like, you are not good enough. And that time, there was no such word as mental health when growing up. And I suffered from a lot of mental health issues, which I can relate now. But at that point, it was like, I didn't know why I existed. What do I need to do? Because if home was bad, then I used to go to the same school as my siblings, taught by the same teachers, and they would compare me all the time. So I didn't know where do I stand. So so the family expectations was also there. My father, he wanted me to excel in life, and he was always constantly worried why I'm not able to do that well like my siblings. So I was totally turned off from everything. I didn't want to do like anything in life. Like I was just I just didn't know where I stood and that continued for a very long time, for till I was in the 9th standard. And I was like, no, this is not my path. I was not a dumb student. I was quite bright. But I wasn't that bright and I didn't have that kind of encouragement. I needed something different, which nobody understood at that point, and I don't blame anybody for it. But fast forward, I reached like the 9th standard, and in the 10th exam is like the first main exam that you give. I had no validation, no self-esteem, no self-confidence. And then you have to sit for the biggest exam. I heard statements like, oh, she's going to flunk the exam, she's not going to pass. I even heard like saying that, if you don't get so and so percentage, then there is no point, you don't come home or things like that. So and somehow something changed that time. Something changed. I felt like a sense of competition. I felt challenged, and challenge always brought the best out of me. So what do I do? So I studied so much. I gave my 100% just to prove that, I am not bad. I'm equally worthy. So I started making, before what I used to do, I used to make a plan every time before the exams, like how much I need to study to pass the exam. Basically a timetable, which I didn't realize at that point what I was doing. I was actually working what is called in IT world, it's called MVP, minimum viable product. So what I was trying to do till my 9th standard was to deliver an MVP. So why MVP? Because I just want to pass the exam. I knew how much I need to study. I figured out what I need to study, what are the important things. I was clever that way, but I was not using my knowledge to to get like 95% or like to be the topper of the class. So what I did is during the 10th exam, I started studying. I again planned myself. I took it so much upon myself that I need to prove to these people that I'm really good. And again, I made my timetable, and this time it was not to pass the exam. This time it was to excel. And I gave, I think, probably more than 100%. I used to study every night around 6 hours. And my mom, she helped me so much. Like she would stay awake with me, make me midnight snacks or meals so that I could study. And then when the exams, the results came, I ended up being one of the toppers from my school. My dad actually literally went in a state of shock, as did most of my family. And that was the first time ever in my life that I got a validation for myself, that I am worth something. I can do something, I can achieve something. So this feeling, it happens to many people, not just in childhood, but even when they are adult. And when we think that we are not good enough, actually, it's not true. It's just that we need to put in that extra. We need to make that ordinary. I treat myself as a very ordinary person. But I am willing to put in that extra to make my work extraordinary every single day. So if I am not good enough, that is not going to stop me. And if you think like that, I think you should reflect on my journey, think about it, and then say that, yes, it's not true. We can still achieve, no matter, it's just, usually it's just in the thoughts. It's just that if once we change our mindset, it just streamlines itself and you just get the best out of you. Rejections. So once I started doing well in my exams, that was the first validation I was talking to you about this. I never looked back. I was able to be one of the toppers in my bachelor's. And when I did my master's, I was one of the top 10 students and got scholarship twice. And so I was flying there. I was like, I just knew that I am all set up now. My competitiveness was like this. I want to be at the top. When you are young, you are so energetic, full of passion. You just want to conquer the whole world till you start facing rejections. And then that just pulls you off. So here I'm going to cover this topic of rejections. So what happens when you get rejected? I got rejected. It's not a story that I never got rejected or I have been like so successful. Rejections happen always in life. We say, but what we do with rejections is exactly what is going to matter. Even in our personal life, we get rejection so many times. But what do? When we have rejection, we get a very low morale. We start thinking we are not good enough. We can't do anything. See how bad I did at that interview. that we say, I should not never apply for this person, for this job. But what I have seen, it has always presented with me with an opportunity. And as I've written here, what we can do is either we can make ourselves miserable or we can make ourselves strong. The amount of work is the same. And the choice is ours. So when I first started giving interviews, that was the campus placement. And I was like, yeah, I'm a merit student. I will definitely get this job. I've sat down the whole day without eating food. The campus recruitment is a crazy thing. My slot came at the very end. I was sitting there till like 6:30 or 7. The examiners who were taking the interviewers who were taking the interview, they were very much want to close for the day. So what will they do? So they called me as one of the last candidates, and had complete rejection. They were very exhausted, I felt. So it was not going in the right direction for me. We started the interview. They started asking me questions, and anything I said, there were two panel, and there are two people in the panel. They would just challenge me, and sometimes it felt unfair. Somehow it felt like they wanted to reject me, and it happens, and I don't blame them, because from their point of view, they have interviewed 500 candidates the whole day. So I was like, what do I do now? And in my mind, I am thinking, this is not going well. I am definitely not going to get this job. So what can I do? I didn't get a single opportunity till that point. But the very last question, he said, is there something you want to ask us? So this was for my first company. I had no previous experience of giving and sitting for an interview. It's just, if you have presence of mind, what I did, I had looked at their presentation that they did in the morning. They mentioned all their most popular brands, but they did not include one of their topmost brands in that commercial. So I just asked them one question, and I just asked them, is this, I saw the presentation, but I didn't see that brand on that presentation. Is it not an important brand for you, or you just forgot to include it? The moment I asked this question, the two guys, they jumped, they opened the presentation, they checked it, and they saw that what I said was correct. That was my 1 minute opportunity to change the direction of the interview. And they were so amazed by it. In the end, when I was leaving the room, they congratulated me. They said, you have a very good sense of observation. And I knew at that point that I had changed the direction of the interview. And so I think when you face any rejection, you don't give up till it's not over, till it's over. Okay. When people are interviewing for an interview, when the guy is sitting to interview, they interview many candidates. Most of them, after a certain point, have the same level of expertise. How do you select someone then? Because I have interviewed many people. What I have felt over the years is that they are not looking for the brightest candidate. They are looking for the people who can work as a team and who is able to ask that one intelligent question or able to give that one very good answer, which nobody else has thought about. So that's very important. So I faced, and the story that I told you was partial rejection, but I have faced rejection. I have faced rejection when I applied for a job, which was, I wasn't qualified that time to apply for that. And I have no shame in saying that. So if I'm rejected from that, what did I do? I remembered the questions that were asked to me. I came home, I would go through them. I will see what I am missing in my knowledge, and I'll upgrade myself. And that I have been doing constantly in my life. And that has helped me. What has it helped me? I have gained more knowledge, and that has given me, so that the opportunity, the next time that when I apply for the job, I am well prepared. I'm better prepared than I was the last time. So that's how, I have handled rejections, and I hope you are able to do the same. Gender inequalities. If you are a woman who is working in any field, then this is the thing that will crop up again and again. This is called gender equalities. The thing is that it's not related just to IT. It is a sociological problem. It is very deep rooted. It begins it begins from the time when you are a little girl, and it is reflected in so many things that you do. Like girls will wear pink, boys will wear blue. What will you do about that? And because it is so deep rooted, sometimes it happens unconsciously. The best of people sometimes tell you things that you will not expect them to. It's just because they haven't been taught differently. So what gender equalities did I face in my career? I'm going to share my story around that. So I had a career now. I told you about how my journey started, and I got my first job. I was very excited, very thrilled, and ready to conquer the whole world. Then I realized I hit upon a problem. This is called the gender equalities. I could see it, right in front of me happening. Sometimes it's subtle, and sometimes it's very strong, and you cannot ignore it. And sometimes it's just you just realize that the other person didn't mean to do it, but it happens. So especially I will cover from IT perspective. IT struggles the most from it because it's considered mostly a man's job, more IT, especially from development perspective. I will share my story. Like when I was in India, I was working with some female developers. There were quite a few developers when I was in India. I came here, and the more and more experienced I got, the less women I started seeing in my development circle. In fact, I know only 4 women personally who are actually doing development right now. I've been doing it for 15 plus years, and I know only 4 women who do development. They are in other streams, and they do an excellent job, but not in development. So does it make my life easy? No, because the representation is so less. There are so less of us that we don't have an equal voice. Because what happens, just imagine simple things like the solution you are thinking. Women, we can bring a completely different perspective on the table. And it is not because, a person is thinking differently. It's just because how women think in general. And that opinion is so important. And I really believe that there is no limit what we can accomplish together. And so I encourage women to take this field. If you are really interested in IT, if you are really interested in development, go for it. It is a little bit challenging. I'm not going to deny that, because we don't come alone. We come with a big package of family and kids, and we have to manage that. Sometimes it's an easy escape as well. Like, I did development for a few years, but then, it was becoming challenging to keep myself up to date. I have family things to sort out. I can't do it. But again, if you're passionate, just don't leave it because you have to, if it is your joy, if it brings you joy, if it brings you that sense of accomplishment, try to pursue it. You will have to make adjustments. You will have to make things, have to adjust things. You have to shift a little bit, to achieve what you want to do. If you are mindful of what you want, I'm sure you can work out a way around that. What happens when you go in an office? What happened to me when I was starting working in the first company? I could see that I was doing the same amount of work as the other people. And I was appreciated for that. I will not deny that. In the beginning, I was really appreciated. And then whenever an opportunity came, for good reason, because that place where we was, you send people on site. And when that opportunity came to send somebody on site, I wasn't considered. It is not it was not a place where women usually, they are not considered safe. So they did not even approach me for that. And I felt bad. I thought it's my choice to reject it. It's not your choice to decide for me. So there is so much patronizing. They're so patronizing. They decide for you that, no, we want to keep you safe. We don't want to send women there. But it's my choice. I should say no, not you. That happened. When it came to giving rating, I was always got the top rating for my work. And the only time they actually dropped my rating, if I give an example, the topmost rating is 5. I always used to get a 5. And then I told them I was getting married. The next rating I got was 2. And I I was so angry. I just didn't understand why I got such bad rating for the work that I've been doing. I didn't remain silent, because if you face a situation like that, you cannot keep quiet. You have to speak for yourself. I went to the group head and I just told her, I actually turned the tables on her and I asked her, I was a 5 rated uh, employee, and suddenly in 6 months you have given me a rating of 2. I ask you to explain to me what I have done wrong in the last 6 months that you have reduced my rating from 5 to 2, and you need to explain it to me. I explain it to me why you didn't bring it to my notice before. In 6 months, what I have done so wrong. She didn't say a word, not a word. She just said, I'll look into it. 15 days later, they increased my rating from 2 to 3. People came congratulating me, saying, see, are you happy now? You changed it. It doesn't happen that often. But I was like, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. It's just like you gave me peanuts. I'm not happy. It's just not justifiable. But I spoke for myself. I didn't get the right result I was expecting, but I did stood up for myself. And that what happens, and that will happen. It will show faces many times. Like when you apply for a job, sometimes you are offered less. This is a very big problem, not just in the Southeast Asia, but also all over the world. There is a huge challenge going on. There are like companies have to express, they have to they have to show their records, how much they are paying women. And there is always so much discrimination. TV shows, same TV show, 2 hosts, men are paid more than women. Why? And if something like that happens, who is going to talk for us? Us. We have to raise our voice. And I would say partially we are also to blame. There is so much lack of representation, like especially when in the IT world, especially in the development world, we are not well represented because we haven't chosen that career. So if in a team there are 15 people and 14 of them are male and there is only one voice, you go with the flow. You can't change too much about it. So we encourage each other. So we tell everybody, yes, it's a good line. And when we all are together, we can change how things happen. Because if I go to some sessions, retro sessions, where there are Star Wars session. And I am not interested in Star Wars or football. And imagine that happening to you for like 10, 12 years. You are sitting around with 10 male every day. You're working with people and you are working with them and they're always talking about sports. That actually is dynamics of being left out. You feel that kind of that you are left out because they are having a conversation, you can't join. They go for a smoke, you can't join. So that it is not intentional all the time. Okay, it happens and it has happened. And sometimes I have tried, I have been with them, I kind of enjoy the company, I do go. But sometimes it's like, can you imagine I turn the table and say there are 6 women, 15 women, and there is 1 male, and we all talk just about makeup. And that's not one time, and it happens for like 10 years. Will you not feel left out? Of course you will. How do we do that? If you have that's why I said, being outspoken, having good communication is important. If something like that happened, you raise it. I have even been told by somebody, you are paid really well as a woman. I didn't understand what does that as a woman meant. I want to be rewarded for the work, understand my self-worth. I apply for a job and sometimes my husband will say, oh, you are asking too much money. But that's how I see myself. I rate myself high. And I just say, I am at par with any male developer. So why should I ask for less? I want the standard industry rate, which is across all gender. I'm not asking anything more because I'm a woman, but I will not settle for anything less because I'm a woman. So yeah, this is something that is quite a big topic. And keep your ears open, keep your eyes open. If you see something happening, you must talk and raise it. Work-life balance. If you want to have a career, and from my perspective, I will share, if you have a career that is long, it can't be without having a good work-life balance, because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a part of your life. You spend more time in your office and your work than you do with your family. So how do you manage work? How do you do, what do you do about work-life balance? I told you about my story. I told you about the gender equality I faced, and I was getting married. So what happens? The biggest, when you are alone and you can do late nights, you can do work, you can just go all in, give your 100%. And I did that when I was working and I was single. I used to work 10 o'clock because there was so much passion. I studied so much, so long, and I want to reap the rewards of it. I want to show I'm so good. So I'm working so long. Then I got married. And as soon as I got married, new challenges came in. Of course, it's a very, this is the success in my life. My marriage is a success. But again, it brings challenges. And there is no, just to tell you, there is no villain in this. So what happens when I got married, new challenges came up because of expectations, social expectations, family expectations. Especially if you come from a South Asian community, you will know how much the social expectation and family expectation is there. Women are supposed to behave in a certain way. They are supposed to, when they have a somebody in the office, they want them to be very energetic, and when they come home, they must be docile. They must be very quiet. Quietness and girls who don't argue are considered as good qualities of, brides and women. I was totally far from that. What I have always done is that I am always able to set the right expectation across the board. And I think that is very, very important. For me, it was like my in-laws family, they're excellent. They're so supportive of my career now. But when I was getting married, I was the first woman in the whole family who was going out to work. And they were really not sure whether they wanted a daughter-in-law like that. But we got married. And then there was this, they were very apprehensive. Will she look after the family? What is she going to do? What is she going to do? My husband was a bit concerned around things like, he wants to balance both of us. So what do you do about these things? Because I am passionate about I love my family, but I am also very passionate about my career. So what do I do for that? From the very, very beginning, I have always kept my equation straight, and I've always set right expectations. I have never overcommitted myself by saying, oh, I will do anything and everything for you. Never. I have said, I have always stuck the middle ground. There are few things I'm willing to compromise on, but there are few things I have just put my foot down, and they need to make peace with that. And for now, that I think has got me a lot of success, because right now I enjoy such a good family life with my in-laws families, my family, my husband, my kid, and my work career has never been better than this. So what happened when I got married? My husband was actually offered a job in London. And just after I got married in November, and January, I moved to London. But did I have a job that time? My family expectation is that, oh, the son is there. You must quit your job. You must join him. You can't stay here and work. You must join him. And that's not just the expectation from in-laws family, the same expectation from my family as well. I was happy. I was married. I was in a different zone. I want to be with my husband. So what happened to my career? I had to quit my job in India because that was recession. If you know, 2008, 2009, there was no on-site placement. And I came here. I took a sabbatical and I said, okay, worst case, I will not, take off. While my husband was still having he didn't have to resign anything. He didn't have to quit his job. I had to. I went to London. I came to London and I was, again, after 2-3 months, I didn't have my job. So what do I do now? So what can you do in such situation? You lost your job. You worked for a beautiful career. Is everything lost? I felt so sad at that point that I felt like something was taken away from me. I was enjoying my marriage life, definitely. But there was this, because I just started my marriage journey, I was thinking, is this going to be my future? Is it that I'm not going to get work again? But what I did at that point, I came here during recession. I called agents for job. It was 2008, 2009. Some of them were very nice, where some of them, they even like shouted at me saying, why did you even apply for this position? You are not eligible. You have just come here. Don't you know the market? Actually, at one point, one of them was so bad that I ended up in tears. I came to a new place where a new culture. I have never left India before. I didn't even want to leave India. I came here and I was in the middle of a completely different culture. There is nobody there, nobody I know, no friends, just my husband. Again, it's an arranged marriage. I'm getting to know him. I don't know, like it's we are trying to make our marriage work because we just got married and it's new and you want to give in your best as well. But from career perspective, my husband, he's been so supportive. I cannot thank him enough for whatever he has done for me. If he agrees to, he's so supportive. He will do pickups for my daughter. He will do anything. Even now, while I'm talking to you, he's entertaining my daughter upstairs. So that is the kind of support I have always have from him. So he didn't stop me, and I was getting this constant rejections here at a very difficult time. So what do I do? Again, I started looking at jobs that were coming up. I was looking at what are the skills that people are asking for. IT is very interesting that way. No one is relevant for long and no one is irrelevant for long. It just depends on how and when you upgrade yourself. So I looked at those things and I started doing those certifications on the side. I would do like 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours a day, trying to get, prepare myself so that I can have an interview. I did get one interview. Out of all the places where I applied, there was one call that I received. They were interviewing 20 people, and then they said that they are only going to take 10 candidates and finally going to get one person from the interview. I got that job. And that's how I started working in the UK. After that, career-wise, that I felt so much joy that I proved something to myself, that in a country where I didn't even, in the beginning, I couldn't even understand the accent very well. So there was so much struggle. The culture was so different. I felt like very rewarding. It was not about money. It was never about money. It was just about proving somebody. And that guy who really pissed me off when he said, why did you apply? You are not capable of. And I just wanted to just hit back at everybody who ever doubted me for not being able to achieve anything in life. So I gave it my 100%. I got the job and it was really good. Once I got my job, it was all smooth. It was very good. Everything felt like, yeah, it's on the right track. Yeah. And I was having a career in a beautiful city in London. It's a dream. It felt like surreal that, I'm achieving all this. It's good. And I was appreciated for my work all the time. In the middle, my husband was taken, he wanted to have he was getting an opportunity in the US. So I had to quit my job because we both wanted to go there. But of course, his job was there and he had this opportunity and we wanted to explore it. So I'll quit my job again after putting in so much effort to get the first job here. I quit my job and I was just again, but unfortunately, that didn't turn out well and we couldn't go. So again, what do? I found another job. After working there for like 10, 11 months, I got pregnant. And that joy, that moment of joy, again presented a challenge in my life. Again, I had to quit my job. So in between the journey, I had no regrets of quitting my job because I was enjoying my life as well. Because again, it's very important that you strike the right balance, you hit the right chords, and you need to understand what is important when. The most beautiful part of my journey is motherhood. And I just wanted to enjoy every bit of it. I was working till the very end of my pregnancy and I was doing well. I had started my freelance consultancy services that time. The guy from my previous job, he liked me and he had given me the opportunity before we were trying to go to the US. That didn't work out. I got this opportunity, and my husband actually came with me so that I could start on the contract. And then he joined me 3 months later. So that was a struggle. We stayed apart for a few months. And then we have this second phase of our challenge, which was motherhood. What happens when motherhood hits is changing priorities. Of course, you have your daughter. I have this beautiful picture of my daughter. And again, that becomes my number one priority. The day my daughter was born and when I started working, there was one thing that was extremely clear in my mind, that she is my number one priority and going to be like that for some time in future. So my priorities changed. But do I want to compromise on my career? No, because I worked hard for it. So what happens when motherhood happens? You start feeling a bit of guilt that I'm not able to give much time to my daughter. I'm not able to do this thing for her. Oh, look at the some women who are taking a break, staying at home. Look how much they are able to do for their kids. It hit me. I will not deny that. But I made my peace with it. And then what happens when you become a mother and you apply for a job? Again, gender inequality, less recruitable. If you apply for the same position, a man and a woman, and the woman comes, I have a 2-year-old daughter and I am the primary caretaker. My husband helps, but I am the primary caretaker, which will be, you are less recruitable. So what happens if you're less recruitable? What I have seen in my experience, I thought that it is going to affect my career adversely. But what happened to me was that ever since my daughter was born, my career actually went up from that stage, because I was able to set the right expectations, which I said before. Whenever I used to go to an interview, I used to tell them, I'll be in office at 7 o'clock, 7:30 or 8. At 4 o'clock, I am going to walk out this door. So if that is a problem for you, don't give me the job. So I set the right expectations from the very beginning with everyone. And then that happened. I told my husband he will have to chip in, and he obviously does. So I had the right expectations from him as well. And while my daughter was growing up, I set the right expectations with her as well. If I am at work late and I come back home, I am not trying to overdo myself by, compensate myself, being guilt and trying to make up for it by, making loads of food and pampering them. I said, no, I am tired today. You manage yourself, eat whatever you want. Okay. I have done a lot of work. So time management. So that's how that thing that, planning always helped me, is I was able to manage my time pretty well. I would manage my time by, by in my office, I set certain time limits. The thing with time is that if you value your time, the other people will respect your time. So there is no if you set the right expectations, and that was so easy for me afterwards, that nobody, I worked with so many good people throughout after having my daughter, they completely understood it. In fact, one of my manager, he himself called me and said that, Sweta, you work from home 2 days because you have childcare responsibilities. As long as you deliver, as long as you are able to work, then I think people understand that it's your work that will speak the most. So that's why, so from motherhood, I always say that, it is definitely a break. In fact, when my daughter was born and I was in the first 1 month, I actually cried. I thought it's game over for me. That's it. I'm tired. I can't move now because I have this little child to take care of. But actually for me, on the contrary, it actually accelerated my career. It was never a stop for me. Yes, I missed on certain things. I like to socialize. I have good friends in office. I want to socialize, but I just tell myself now is not the time. I used to come home. I used to spend time because I don't see her in the morning. It's my time with her and I want to cherish everything from there. But now that she's grown up, I started feeling that, I'm more free now. I'm looking into more opportunities now. And I am able to spend like evenings. She understands, I can have a conversation with her. So yes, motherhood does present a lot of challenges, but it is not the end of the world, definitely. If you don't have health, you don't have anything. And that's very true. And it's my personal experience with health that I don't think I can leave this session without having a mention of that. After my daughter was born and everything was going on, I had a very smooth career for a few years. Everything was fine. Career wise, I was growing, I was learning new things. I was always exploring things and, just trying out what is, keeping my eyes and ears open as to what is coming up in technology. At one time I heard like Scala is quite in, and I explored that functional programming. I started working on it, and I try to always upgrade myself with whatever is going on in the market so that I'm never out of date. So I was doing everything and I was choosing the right career, right path, everything going smooth. Till I faced the biggest challenge of my life is health. Our woman body itself is a challenge. It goes through so many phases since we are a child. Men are blessed, their body doesn't change that much. For us, motherhood changes our body. When we growing up through menstruation, our body changes. It's so much like every time anything happens, there is so much changes in our body. It's never constant. So for me, after my motherhood, after I had my daughter, a few years were fine. And then suddenly my health started deteriorating a lot. I did not understand what was going wrong. Every day I would wake up, there was some kind of pain somewhere in the body, and that started affecting my concentration. It affecting my career the most. Nothing so far that I have experienced in my life and the topics that I covered, there was nothing there that actually troubled me this much, because I didn't know what was going on. Affecting productivity, I was having no confidence, and there was so much stress in my life that I don't know what's wrong. I will wake up and I couldn't open my jaw. I would wake up and I just had a very stiff back. I had knee pain. My foot. I was not able to walk for 2-3 months, and I had no knowledge what was going wrong. What was wrong with my body. I was so puzzled. I checked with doctors, everything, nothing was happening, and it's very subtle. Nobody in my home understood what was going wrong. Forget about the office people. Like you go in an office, you have a face. It's a very artificial kind of world where we don't talk about our problems to each other. Like, oh, I'm facing this problem, I don't know what's wrong. And I just didn't know what to do that time. I was so puzzled. Finally, I got, my diagnosis that I have an autoimmune condition. And that was some time back. The thing is that usually people get upset when they are diagnosed with something. I felt a sense of, satisfaction that I know what I have, what problem I have. I suffered so much, and there was nobody agreeing. They could not believe, how can somebody have pain somewhere and then next day somewhere else. And in office, my productivity was almost going down to zero, because I was only thinking about the pain. It was a burning sensation in my whole body all the time. I was not able to enjoy my family. I was not able to enjoy my daughter. I was not able to enjoy work. Everything stopped. That's why when I say, if you don't have health, you don't have anything. No career just takes a stop. So if you really want to have a career and have to do something, prove yourself, shine like a star, you cannot ignore health. So what did I do when I had a health challenge? I actually, that time, all this time, my personal abilities helped me climb my career. This was the first time I felt that my professional quality actually helped me to overcome this. Being a software developer by nature, I am a problem solver. Before I didn't know what is the problem. So I was always puzzled. Once I knew what was the problem, I didn't worry after that. I started looking for solutions. I changed my diet, I changed my health, I turned my lifestyle upside down, exercise, swimming, food, every single thing. And within 6 months, I was in remission. And I have been like that since like last 5-6 years. It looks like a sad topic, but it happens to women all the time. They suffer mental health issues as well. Not health is not just your physical health, it's mental health. And it will put a pause on your career. It will, definitely. You can overcome that, because this is out of control. This is out of control. So you have to pay attention to it. And ever since I have been taking good care of health, I understood how precious health is. And my professional skill for the first time came to the rescue. And I feel it in everything I do. If there is a problem, if something doesn't work, or if something is wrong, I'm quite okay with it, because I think, oh, okay, this is the problem. Okay, let me think, how can I solve it? It happens, right? When we are doing development, we are always puzzled when we don't know where the problem lies. Once we know where the problem lies, we start looking for solutions, and there is always a solution for that. So that's exactly what happened with me. When I had the health challenges, I was able to overcome. And I think that is really, really a very important aspect to, and I did face it. COVID-19. I wanted to cover this. I know there is a long, a very sad phase the world is going through. Nobody is untouched by it, and it affects career. It affects your skills, everything. You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. It happens. I'm sure while I'm talking, many of you are going through this. Many people have lost their loved ones. I have done too. Last year, I lost my beloved uncle to COVID-19. And right now, while I am talking to you, one of my closest loved one is actually in hospital. He's recovering well, but it does affect your mental health, doesn't it? So what do? We are going through these challenging and unprecedented times, of course, because we have never faced anything like that. And then physical and mental well-being. Of course, people are suffering physically. Your loved ones are suffering physically, and it affects your mental health too. And it impacts the career, impact on the chosen career. Of course, because you prepared something, especially, I think, especially in the beginning of people who are at the start of their career. It is a big impact on them because there are not many jobs. There is people, companies are not hiring. What do you do then? You were all charged up to do something, and you have just people who have, in my experience, people who have more than 5-7 years of experience, they're still okay. But people who have just started, they feel they're nobody's going to recruit them. And I faced a challenge as well with COVID-19. When it came, how do I manage at home with homeschooling? Because you have a kid, you have to homeschool, and everybody is at home, so you have to provide food and you have to deliver office work, of course, because you are focused on delivery, and you can't be just sitting and saying that, oh, it's COVID-19, I'm not going to work. That's not how it happens. How do you work that time? Again, I will go back to the 2 points which are very precious to me: time management and setting the right expectations. I managed my time well. What did I do? What did I do in COVID-19? Did I give up? Did I say, oh, this is such a bad time, let me just think about, just sail this through, and once it is over, I'm going to do everything? I actually utilized my time well. Since COVID-19 started, this was the first time I was at home. I was saving 3 hours of commute, which I was doing previously. So what I introduced, I started exercising a lot, and it has, in this last 1.5 years, I have achieved health that I didn't have even in my 20s. I will be in my 40 this year. I am more fit now than I was ever in my 20s or in my 30s. So I learned something about health. What else did I do? I did 2 certifications during this time with the saved time. So I started upgrading myself. I did not too much, like I'm just being workaholic and I'm just not paying any attention to anybody else. No, I fixed my time, and I would set a time every day, couple of hours. I did that, and I learned something new. I also learned gardening, because it's not just professionally that you need to grow, you need to grow personally as well. I learned a new skill. I was a very pathetic gardener, and I didn't have the hands to that things can grow. But I learned, and I enjoyed, and I found a new passion in myself. So that is why. So I could have wasted my time. I could have wasted my time sulking. So if you are on the start of your career, and if you don't have anything right now, no job, don't give up. Learn something new. You should always have to upgrade yourself and keep yourself. You don't know what one skill you might learn that somebody is looking for. So you must keep upgrading yourself, because that's how I think I have been able to survive this long. Also, with COVID-19, what happens is that you think, okay, I am not in office. I was in the first few months, it was like, oh, it felt like a party time, isn't it? That, it's just never ever did we have anything like that. We could have wasted that time. I actually even ventured. I even tried opening my own company with my friends. I ventured into a new zone. I was trying to set up my own company, even though that venture was not successful. And I have no shame in admitting it was not a success. I learned so much about things that I didn't know. So I'm always trying to do something new, trying to learn something new, not just professionally, personally as well, because I want, if you meet me after 2 years or after a pause, you should always see a better version of me, not the same stagnant one. They should always say, you've improved so much, health wise, career wise, knowledge wise, spiritual wise, anything that gives you joy, you should be able to pursue that. So I just want to summarize by saying some of the tips and tricks, which I summarize the 3 most important things. And I have talked about it in the previous slides as well. Technical, why technical? How do you keep yourself relevant for such a long time? This is very important because in IT, you can become irrelevant anytime. A new technology comes and the world shifted towards that technology. Suddenly, whatever you knew so far and you had good experience is no longer needed by anybody. So what do you do that time? So you keep updating yourself, keep your eyes and ears open, have conversations with people, find out why people are doing certain things and why something else is important. You need to keep yourself technically always, at par with the market. When you're applying for a job, don't just go for the money. You should always go for technology. I have done that. I have left. I have had better offers to continue in a role, but I actually chose to go for a lower paying role just because they had a lot of technologically, they were very good. So that what has helped, even though I was not able to earn that much money that time, when I applied for the next job, I was so much, I had so much more experience in the most relevant technologies that I was always recruitable. People were looking for my CV, looking for me, checking out my CV, contacting me. So that's why the number one thing in IT is you have to keep upgrading yourself. Networking and technical events. There are a lot of free courses you can do. It's not very expensive. You can look for offers. You can always learn anything through, there are Coursera stuff, there is Udemy stuff. You can always, IT is very cheap to learn actually. You just go, and there are free videos as well if you want to do. Networking, there are always events, Scala events, Java community events, you should join. I'm talking about it, but personally, I have to accept this is one of my minus points, one negative, and I need to improve on that. It's networking. I was trying to strike the right balance all the time. I didn't have time to put that thing in networking, socializing, going to that event. But now I feel I have to do it and I will make an effort. I mean, now everything is stopped, but yeah, this is one thing that is my area of improvement as well. Don't be stagnant. Don't be stagnant, not just technically, just in life as well. Learn something new, anything, cooking, cycling, that also counts as learning because your mind is at work. Swimming, I have almost in the last 5-6 years, every year I have learned something new. I didn't know swimming, I learned swimming. I learned cycling, I learned driving. It took me six attempts to pass my driving test, but I did it. I had to wake up at 4 o'clock to fit that my driving lessons in, but to get that license, I didn't give up on that. So never be stagnant. Keep on trying new things, anything, and technically as well. If you're doing Java, don't just do Java all the time. Try to learn what is going on, something else. Do front end work for 6 months. Sit with the developer sit with the backend developer, pair with that developer, backend developer, learn what they are doing with the database, what's going on. So because IT is always evolving, if you are stagnant, you will just be at the last of the race. If you want to keep on upgrading, if you want to learn, if you can't be stagnant. This is one field where you can't be stagnant. If you are in different fields, you still can, because they don't change that much. And in IT, the only thing that is constant is actually change. Personally, you have all the technical skills, but if you don't have the right personal skills, how will you have such a big career? long career. I am still halfway. I don't think myself that I have done a lot of work. I think I always have the feeling I just started. Personally, set the right expectations with everybody. Be honest. Be honest. Tell people what you will do, what you will not do. They will understand, because, as I said, if you value yourself, if you are honest, people do understand. So don't overcommit. We just go into that overcommitment mode as women. We will like say, I'll do everything. I'll do everything in work and I'll do everything at home. And then we suffer because we have a lot of guilt, because we are raised that way. Our community is that way, especially in from India. It's changing a lot now. A lot. I see a lot of difference in how women, girls are raised nowadays. But then this is a deep rooted thing in the society. And I won't say it's completely gone. So till that happens, let's set the right expectation so that all of us can be happy. Time management, that will come. That you have to be good at that. You have to decide your day, how you are going to do, what you are going to do. Have a mental map of things, mental plan of what you're going to do. And I think that's very important. And lastly, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You can work 16 hours a day for like first 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, but can you imagine yourself doing that for 40 years? Some people do it. Some people do it and they're very good at it. But personally, it's not for me. My belief is that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And at the end of the day, it's life. So you need to enjoy it as well. So be in the long run, keep doing good things. And then again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And we want to reach there very healthy and very happy. That's it from me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, ma'am. First of all, I have to say, I really enjoyed your talk, and I'm sure our viewers did too. It was very inspiring, and thank you so much for giving us all your insights, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. I just feel really, I am so contented today. I feel happy that I was able to share my journey. I think I chose the right decision to do it. And thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, ma'am. It was our pleasure. And there's a question that I want to ask you, that you're very interested in your work and very invested in it, which inspires us also. But were you always like this? I mean, when did you start having interest in tech? Like, were you always sure that I want to go in this industry, or you started joining your college, you started working, you started learning more, and then you developed that interest and enjoyed your work? How was it?
Yeah, actually, it's a very good question, because I was never, the problem I had was that I was never bad at anything. So I am sure if I would have chosen any other career, I would have done well as well. And you are right. When I started, it was not my choice. I just did it. Actually, in India, like most of, I am sure it's the same in Nepal as well. Like I hope I'm telling the correct thing, that our parents take a lot of decision for us when we were kids. So it was my father. He said, "Oh, you know what? You should do computers. It's very good." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." I did put some resistance, but I chose to do it. And I never enjoyed. I was never a fan of theory. I'll just switch off if people start talking theory to me. So what I found out that I was really good in coding when I started doing it, and I did that for a few months, and I said, yeah, this is something I like. This is good. Nothing else. None of the computer architecture, anything, nothing was enjoyable. And even when I went for my master's, that became the constant thing. I mean, my teachers who were in the lab, they would love me. They were very appreciative of me. And the teachers in my theory classes, they probably hated me. So because I couldn't pay attention that time, because I just want to do practical things. So that is the point when I actually decided. So the interest was not from the beginning, to be honest. It just, it just came upon me slowly. And once I started working, and it happens, right? If you're appreciated for something, you start thinking, oh, I'm good at it, let me do it. And that's how it started. And I was appreciated. Wherever I worked, I was appreciated for my work. So I'm very humble that people appreciate it. And then, yeah, and this is something I relate to. changing, learning. This is like me. Like IT is very much, development is like me. It's challenging and rewarding when you get a solution. I'm sitting, even when I'm eating and there is a problem, it's still in my mind. Sometimes in the shower, a solution will come. And I totally relate to that. So I actually, yeah, that's how it started for me. I enjoy that.
Thank you, ma'am. And the other thing I wanted to ask you was that you went from India, first you were working in India, and then you went to London, and there were various barriers like language barriers, cultural barriers, and it was a new thing for you. And definitely you encountered a lot of challenges, as you told us. But do you feel that going to a new land and foreign land and start working there, you go out of your comfort zone and you learn a bit more? Do you feel that? What were the differences you felt while working in India and then in London?
Yes. India is a very socialistic country. There is a lot of personal connection when you work. Okay, because you work with people, they become your friends. You even go for tea, lunch together. You share your lunch boxes as well in offices. So that was the good part of working in India. It's more very social. You can talk about all your problems there. You will make friends. And we are social people, mostly South Asian people. We are very social by nature. When I came to London, I felt a lot of good things here. I think there was there is a culture of discipline. There is a discipline here, which I found was very good. Actually, I got a shock of my life. When I was in India, I was working till 5:30 is normal. And I was working till 10 o'clock sometimes. And nobody said like, it's very, oh, you're doing an awesome job. It's expected, because they don't, in India, people are spending like 90% of their day working. When I came here, I started with the same vigor. And the first feedback that I got from the first review with my manager is that, Sweta, I don't want you to work that much, because I think your productivity will go down. So work 9:30 to 5:30. That was like something unbelievable for me. Like, what are you saying? Like, I never heard, never imagined that. That was one cultural difference. Like, I totally felt that. And again, in India, because my experience in India is 2.5 years, I worked with one company. I mean, my personal opinion was that I felt, I did feel a bit of more patronizing nature there. I did feel a feeling that, by the boys are usually taking caring for girls, and you don't do this and things like that. I never really understood why that happens. I don't know, maybe because of my upbringing that way. I was like, why do I need to be in a certain way? Why do I need to talk in a certain way just because I am a girl? Even in school in India, in fact, a teacher told me that I should behave in a certain way because I'm a girl. I still can't take that thing out of my mind, because I think that is wrong. Because, and that never happened here in UK. It never happened. It never happens. You can speak your mind. I kind of enjoyed working here. So that's one more thing. Cultural challenge, of course there is cultural challenge. Sometimes the things that they talked about, I had no clue. It's a big geographical things that they talk about. Like, there is so much history in a land which you know by just growing up there. In India, you know the history. Here you don't know anything. And when I started going to job, and the first job was actually outsourcing with a Welsh company. Welsh accent is even more difficult to understand. So when they will talk on the phone, I didn't understand anything. I have no shame in saying that. I'm like, I come from a very good school, one of the best schools in my city. My English was pretty strong. And I was like, again, I don't understand what you are saying. So what I would say, okay, I understand you, but can you send this in an email and I will revert back to you? So that's how I would play it. And the thing is that, so that was another challenge. Language for me was a big challenge, because I struggled with the accent. Culture was a problem, because they would say like, cheers after the email ends. It's a culture of saying cheers. I was like, what does that even mean? How they write an email in a certain format, there is things, there is terminology. But slowly, I was observing what is going on. I was observing how people behave, what is expected, what is not expected, what is the culture. And slowly you keep learning on that. And I think that's how I was able to do the transition.
Thank you, ma'am. We also have a question from our viewer. She says, you talked about the guilt about overcommitting to works. How did you realize that you are in the loop of overcommitting and feeling in guilt? And how did you overcome that?
Yeah. Guilt is something sometimes we are not planned. We don't plan for feeling guilty. I actually credit myself a lot of having no guilt, but it creeps on you. It's so deep rooted, no, something that it comes with your background. Even TV serials that we have in the subcontinent, it's based upon good woman, and I don't know what is the definition of a good woman. And in your mind, in your psychology, you are like, I'm not like that, so basically I am not good. So that guilt comes, and it comes and goes. After my daughter was born, I was like, I was sometimes in the night, I would like, I'm going to work, I'm not able to prepare so much food like other people in their house, they have a full meal. I just come from office, I cook something from, I do cook from scratch, but it's very limited, like minimum MVP again. So I'm like, what can I do? And I felt guilt, if I was not working, I would have been able to take better care of my child, my house would have been perfectly clean all the time. And I felt that, but it was actually not just me, my husband supported me too. He would do the, if it is dirty, and sometimes I'm like, if I see it, I like, okay, you don't find it clean, you clean it. If you're not happy with it, you can go and do it, actually, that kind of thing. And sometimes if I have time, I will do it as well. So the guilt was always there around, and I think the most guilt I felt was around my daughter, not around anything else, because I had a picture in my mind. I had a picture of me spending a lot of time with my daughter. And how did I overcome it? By time management. If you speak to my daughter, she never ever complains. And I even ask her this question: do you think mama is not spending time with you? Are you okay? And she will say, no, mama spends a lot of time with me. I am so happy. It is the biggest joy that my daughter is 10 now, and she's slowly drifting away to her own journey. And so she has never complained that I was not able to give her time. And I feel that is a success. It's definitely a success for me. And if I'm doing a course, I'm planning to start a new course, I will tell her, I told her just some time back that, I will be doing a course and I will not be available that much. Are you okay with it? And we underestimate our kids as well. And she was like, will you be not available at all, or you will be available some of the times and the weekends? I said, yeah, I'll be available weekends. I'm trying to do it, fit in Monday to Friday evenings, so that 5 days, the day you go to school and everything, I am able to do it. And then she came back after a day. I left it to her. First she said no, because then you don't have time. She came back and she said, mama, you really want to do it? I said, yes. Then you should do it, mama. If that makes you happy, you should do it. So that's because of communication, and I set the right expectations, and I told her what I want to do. It just balances out, and I think that's how I was able to come out of my guilt, and just have the best of everything. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, ma'am. I can sense that so much through your answer, that the important family or office and the amount of hard work you put in. I think it's really encouraging for all of us hearing all this from you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
The other question I wanted to ask you is that you talked about the work-life balance, how you maintained it, and then motherhood came, and you did a lot of certifications on the side while you were working. So tech is a sector in which you have to constantly be learning, and it's also a very competitive sector, I believe. So did you ever feel burnout? And also, it's sometimes we hear it quite often that women feel inferiority complex, maybe in the offices or right in the colleges itself. So what kind of advice do you like to give? Have you ever had these moments?
Yes, as I told you before, when I started my journey itself as a kid, I was feeling inferior, always feeling inferior to my siblings and everybody. But these are the things you need to have close attention to your thoughts, what you are thinking, and especially what you think about yourself. We women, we rate ourselves quite low ourselves. Nobody else does it for us. We do it. Nobody, you don't need 5 people to come and tell you you are not good. We will do the analysis. Because we did not do this, because we are not able to pass this, oh, I am not so good in IT because I'm not able to do it. We just put it on ourselves. That's it. No, nobody else has to do it, because nobody else has the power to affect you than yourself. If you choose to, otherwise things will keep on affecting you and keep on, just you are just going to follow the downward trend. Career wise, yes, there will be rejections. That's why I touched upon rejections. Yes, you will. There's such a competitive market. I have 15 years of more than 15 years of experience now, but I still face rejections. Still, there are some interviews I go. Sometimes I will have brain freeze. Like, oh, I knew the answer, and that happens. And it's not because how much, because IT, it's not a strict syllabus, right? That you read these 4 books and you are done. It keeps on changing. The questions are infinite, and you will hardly find anybody who knows everything about everything, because you have a specialization. So you have a general knowledge, then you have a specialization. So what do if you get rejection? If you are struggling, my career is not going the way, I can't do anything, you go, my personal tip, go and see what is happening in the market. That's why I said, keep your eyes and ears open on what is happening. You don't even need to have all the skills. You find one skill that you find really interesting. You see what they are asking for. You will see a trend in the job. I do that. Go when you're not looking, or whenever you are in a job as well. Go to JobServe or job site or any other recruitment site, and you will get an idea of what is required in the market that time. Then I wouldn't just say, because it's not just about money, right? You want to choose something that you enjoy as well. So don't just go, oh, because this technology is so much in demand, I need to work on that. You will feel worn out, right? How much you will chase the competition. The moment you finish with the certification, or you are totally prepared in IT, it will change. That is gone. You have learned a new skill, then no longer nobody wants it anymore. So what do? So you use your intelligence, you see what is the skill that is going to stay for long with you, something that you enjoy, something that is worthwhile. Then go all in 100% on that. Because you need that specialized skill. You need that one special skill, and you need to keep on improving on that. So if you learn Scala, you do Play framework, you also do microservices, you work on all these things. You work on Agile, because they are a package. So it's not like if I am doing Scala development, suddenly I will say, unless you want to do a career change, unless you want to do completely different way, and you said, oh, I'm done with that. I will not go and start working on networking, because then I'm starting from ground zero. After 15 years of experience, for me, it will not make sense unless I'm very much dissatisfied with what I'm doing. If you are dissatisfied, leave it the next day. Go and start learn something new, because then you will be happy and you will be able to pursue it longer. But if you are happy with what you are doing, build a career around that. The technologies that is relevant to your domain, be a master of that. I am also learning. I'm not an expert. I wouldn't call myself expert in, by no means, I just keep on trying to find out the work that I am doing, what will help. What is the business looking for? That is very important. When we are saying software development, we are only focusing, most of us is about development, is about writing code. Very soon in your career, you will realize that's not the truth. That's not the truth. You are the developer, and you are preparing a software for a company, and the company needs delivery, and delivery has to happen on time. So all your development, everything, you will have to bring that knowledge that I have to deliver something on time. That will derive sometimes your solutions as well. If you have to deliver something in 1 month, and you as a developer came up with a fantastic solution that is going to solve all the problem, but it is going to take 9 months to develop, it's useless. The business will not want it. So software development is not about just writing code. It's also having a good understanding of the business. what they want. Once you get that, you will be able to derive solution. So if you are into software development, don't just focus on development. There is agile methodologies, there is a lot of things that you can learn about how to do continuous development, continuous delivery, learn Jenkins, learn about things that like how to improve your code coverage, how to improve your quality. All these things will help. So that's how you don't get worn out. That's how you keep on upgrading. And that's how you actually stay, you don't feel like, fatigued, because you're always learning something new, something interesting around the same area.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You actually answered my other question as well. I wanted to ask you about, like, there are so many sectors even in the computer science and technology itself, be it machine learning, cloud computing, so many. So it can get confusing. And you also answered that question for me. So thank you for that. And the other thing I wanted to ask you was that you started your own freelance company, and starting something of your own takes a lot of courage. What was your motivation behind it? And what would you like to suggest to our young female entrepreneurs and women who want to do their own startup and start something of their own?
Yeah. I have like really lot of respect for anybody who thinks of doing something out of the box, even if it is a failure. When I started my freelance company, honestly, that's just a way of working in the UK. So you start a freelance company, you become a consultant, and then you do the billing on your company's name. So that I will not touch much upon, because that's the way you structure your company and you structure your work. I'm still working as a developer, but I will talk about a company that I started during the COVID times. So I was thinking of this constant desire of doing something else. I know I'm good at this. I'm doing this for 10-15 years. What else can I do? What else? Because I have time on my hand, and time is valuable, and how do I use it? So I said, okay, with my friends, my very dear friends, I started a company. And we had this vision, of setting up a company and government sector and do a lot of things. So it was not just a decision based on like, oh, I have free time, I should do it. What triggered it was the desire of learning something new, that desire of being the better me, so that when you see me after 2 years, you will say, you did this, you have started a new company, that's awesome. So yeah, that's the desire, because I don't want to be the same person after every 2 years. Then you have met me once, there is no delight in meeting me again in life, right? So I wanted to learn this, and I want to say, okay, let's start a company. And I went in all 100%. I actually gave more than 100%, whatever I thought was doable that time, and I did that. But it was not a success. It didn't succeed because COVID times, we could not do any networking. There were a lot of things, and it's not the end of the world. I'm not saying, oh, I had such a bad experience, I'm never going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I am going to do it again. I am going to try again, because failure for me is never like I do feel down. Of course, if you have failure, you are not a robot that you won't feel anything. But then I started looking at what I did wrong. Where did I go wrong in this journey? What mistakes I did? Because as I said, sometimes 100% is also not enough. It is not enough, and there is no guarantee of success when you start something. And you should not focus on success if you start something new, because if you set your expectation as success, the moment you hit failure, you are just demotivated, completely shattered. You say, I'm trying something new, and I will do my best, and I will see what comes out of it. You will never ever end out as a loser, because even if I didn't have financial success, I learned so much. I learned how to do a tender. I learned how the public sector works. I have so much knowledge, and I know what business are looking for. Maybe not this one, maybe next one, maybe the one after that, or maybe the one even after that. But it doesn't stop there. I will keep on trying. And so you should, if you're thinking of starting a new company or freelancing, or have this, burning desire of doing something, I'll say, go ahead and do it. What is the worst that will come out of it? You fail, right? You will lose some money. Okay. Some people invest money, and money is a very big thing. You don't want to put it in, but money to me is just something that sits in the bank. It's just a number if you don't use it. At the end of the life, when you are very, very old and not capable of doing anything, and all your desires have gone out, What are you going to tell yourself? I had this desire of doing something, but I never tried. So I don't know whether if I would have tried, it would have been a success or failure. At least I have an answer. At least I can say I tried, but I failed, but it's okay. At least you can look into the mirror and say you were not so much afraid that you didn't even attempt it. Have a failure, it's okay. Don't start anything with the final thing in your mind that it will be a grand success. Put in your hard effort and just wait and watch, see what comes out of it, and then I'm sure at one point you will definitely be successful.
Thank you, ma'am. That would definitely encourage all the women and young entrepreneurs and everyone who is deciding to start something on their own. That would definitely encourage all of us. So thank you, ma'am. And I would like to say you that we've been getting really amazing responses from all our viewers about how inspiring this talk, this session has been. So thank you again, ma'am. And I like to say that the question earlier about guilt and overcommitting, the viewer has another question with that. It says that, so do you think this having a guilt is a part of our conditioning? This is our question.
Yes, definitely it is. And we should accept it. Because you see, it starts from, so when you are a little girl, boys will wear blue, girls will wear pink. I saw a hoarding yesterday and it said, drive slowly, your son is watching. Why? Does that mean that driving is just for the boys, not for girls? And the guilt, because especially I blame these TV serials that come out in the subcontinent, and the portrayal of the woman is completely different in that they are even told from the beginning of their childhood what they are going to wear, what they are allowed to do. I don't know if you guys have heard the term. I don't know if it's changed. I have constantly heard allowed to dress. You are allowed to wear certain clothes. You are not allowed to wear something. So the guilt will automatically come, right? Because you see, you are a different picture. When you see yourself, I am not that person they show on the TV and everybody likes that person so much. I am not that person that, when I go for a when the in-laws family, when they come to see a girl in our side, they will say, oh, are you able to go, will you be okay to leave your career? And then if you say that point, yes, and you really don't want to lose your career, but then you are in a state of mixed emotions. You are again in guilt that I was it comes so deep rooted in small things that sometimes you can't even see it. Sometimes you don't see it, but it leaves a bit of guilt every time it happens. Your portrayal, the imagination of a perfect woman is a woman who doesn't have a voice, who does not raise, who does not argue, who is always willing to listen. And when you start arguing, that gives you a guilt. Oh, why did I argue? Why did I say this? Because I am not a perfect picture of the woman of the subcontinent or anywhere in the world, as a matter of fact, because there is a perception of a perfect woman, which I hate to say does not exist and should not exist, because we as women have to, each one of us have our own individuality. And we should be very proud of whoever we are, whatever we are. Yeah, I suck at a lot of things. I am very bad in cleaning. And it is like, there is a good, my husband is a better cleaner than I am. And there is a guilt that a woman is able to do there are certain things. A woman is perfect and she should keep the house neat and tidy. If you are not able to do it, guilt. Yeah. Even small things. I mean, I have no shame. My husband does it better than me, which are supposed to be women's job, and he's so much better in those. It can give a piece of guilt. It's social conditioning. It's the image of a perfect woman that everybody has in their mind. That is the root cause of the guilt. Delete that image, keep yourself, replace that image with the image of yourself, and then you will not have that guilt. Accept yourself. I am like that. If anybody has a problem, I am like that. I am not good in this thing, but I'm very good in this thing, very good in this thing, and very good in this thing. And you should focus on the very good thing and accept your minus points and whatever is not that good about you, or whatever you think is not that good about you. Accept it. That's what you are, and that picture is the perfect picture. So that is the picture that you should not suffer from. You will never suffer from guilt. If your perfect picture is the same picture as yourself, then there is no guilt.
Truly well said, ma'am. Thank you so much. I will check quickly if we have any questions on the Facebook Live. Okay. I want to ask you some more questions. You talked about the importance of networking and having a good support system from your husband. And I think in this industry, because it's so male dominated, we women, when starting out or while working, we may feel lonely at times. And I think it is really important to find right people, be it in your college, be it in your workplace. It is important to find people who support you, who raise you up, because there can be many times when people will try to bring you down or hurt you. So how do you find that right circle or right group of people who can, make you a better version of yourself?
Yeah,
who can make you rise from...
Yes. The thing is that, see, you always attract people like yourself. You have heard of the phrase birds of a feather flock together. So if you have the mentality of of growth, it's quite related to your mentality as well. I always grew up with siblings around boys. I used to play cricket. I used to even play football. I used to play tennis with my brothers, all the boys sport, everything. When I went to college, there was quite a good amount of female representation. And I actually, interestingly, when I was working and this technical events came up, I also raised the same question. I will get bored if I go to this seminar because I think I will probably be the only woman there. But then, because of your personality, you have to be so. If you are in IT and I said networking, don't force it upon yourself. Oh, I have to do it. Oh, I have. If you are very reserved by nature, and that goes for boys and girls, you don't want to socialize yourself. The thing is that the connect that you make, don't make it just professionally, personally as well. Wherever I have worked so far in my life, I have always left with friends, always. And when you have somebody, and I did not make a conscious effort to do that anytime. I would just go to my office, do my work, have a conversation with them about technology, about things in general, and then you have a good kind of relation with them. And when you leave, I have never done networking like consciously. I have always had networking just through my personal connect. So that's why, I mean, for me, I never suffered. I said that is my area of improvement as well, because I never did any networking like going to social events, but my networking was very good based on the connect that I had made while working in places. So yeah, like even Anjani, I met him just as at workplace, and since then I have a good relation with him. Similarly, I have had so many people like that in various places where I have worked, and they were all, in fact, some of them even got me my contract, saying they recommended me. They said, oh, I know this girl, she can do the job, get her. So that's how I had the social connect. And I have never been very uncomfortable around boys, and to be honest, sometimes I found it very comfortable to work with boys. It's very easy to work with them. I've never felt uncomfortable being in a men's company. Sometimes it does come like, oh my god, like sometimes simple things. If you're wearing a dress to office, and then you have bought a new nail paint or something, anything that boys don't talk about. I'm not just talking about feminine stuff or anything, but those kind of things, you don't have anybody to talk about that. And sometimes women want to talk about different things as well. There is no one. Then I do feel sometimes, but that is not a showstopper. That's one day. Most of the time I really enjoy in office with my friends, and I have made good colleagues. And they said, in fact, in one of the seminar that I was planning to go, I actually missed it like a couple of years back. And the guy said, come with me, it's okay, I will be there. And I was like, yeah, you will be there, I'll be fine. So it doesn't really matter it's a boy or a girl, because if you work in an industry, you have to have this clear in your mind that you will have to, till it changes, till we have equal representation, you have to have this mind, this is going to be the case. There will be more of men, less of women. You gel with them, have a good, don't even have to be buddies, you have a good cordial relationship with them, and they're quite good to work with as well. So you just have to connect with them, and then not think too much about it. It's okay to be in a society. We are a part of a field, IT, where it's always the case. So we have to accept it, and we have to make the best out of the situation. I am hoping in future, when 10 years later somebody is doing the seminar and they will talk about the opposite situation, and they will say there are so many women in the seminar that I don't feel like going, So I hope that changes very quickly. But till the time it changes, let's just focus on what's good and take the good out of every situation and make the most of what we can.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I too hope that happens someday, very soon. And I'm learning a lot from our talk today, and I'm sure our viewers are too. And as much as I would love to keep on asking questions to you, I will have to take care of the time as well. So I have a final question, ma'am. You know, we are stuck in homes. There's COVID going on. So, you know, what is your opinion about having an online presence or building a personal brand online? How should we approach it, and how should we do it, and how important it is for our career?
It is quite important depending on what you are doing. If you are into a development field, honestly, what I've seen, the very good advantage of development is that, okay, it's technology, it is agnostic of your language. There is no language barrier. I mean, the only reason I was able to have a career only because I was an IT professional. I didn't have to learn anything. I just knew the language. The only language you need to know is the programming languages. Once you know that, it's okay. So that is a very good advantage of working in IT. So from IT perspective, if you are at home, you want to build a career, and you want to have an online presence, of course you should do. Why don't you write a blog? Why don't you write a blog in simple things like how like from Scala, if you know anything about immutability, write a blog on that. Nowadays you can do so many things. You can make a YouTube video and post it, okay? And you can do so many things on. I am doing this, I'm talking to you guys. I've never done it before, never had that kind of time, and the timing never matched. And this is the, it happens when the time is right. I always believe that everything happens when the time is right. So you can always build your presence, do YouTube videos, learn something from others YouTube video, on your LinkedIn profile, update it with new things that you have learned, okay? And or building online profile, I mean, especially here when I'm working, it's not just about your professional. If you're also interested in doing other things, that actually adds to your CV as well. Because if you have a very busy life and you are doing your certifications, and in middle of that, suppose you wrote a novel, okay, and you add it to your CV, it gives you a weightage. At least if I am interviewing and I am shortlisting a CV, I will definitely shortlist that person who is going above and beyond and also pursuing their passion along with their career. So no matter what you do, you can always, if you keep on changing your game and keep on reflecting on your presence, you will not go unnoticed. You will never go unnoticed. Just update one line on your CV. Now I am this certified person, or I have now completed this. I am now also this and this person. I have just done this course on this, and they're pretty cheap as well. So that's why online presence is definitely important. Build it. If you like, write blogs, create your own, anything, YouTube channel, and just start giving solutions to people. On Stack Overflow, start answering questions to people if they have any problems, and if you know the answer. There are things like that. They're always good. There are also women, you can teach, you can enroll for teaching. if you want to. So you will be put in a list for women who are available to teach, and they will give you a schedule and you can come and train, cover a syllabus. This also adds to your CV. This not always about just about skill or something. What else are you doing is also counted. So that's why I think, yes, prepare your online presence, do more of stuff, and I think definitely you'll achieve whatever you want to.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was definitely a helpful advice. I would like to see if there is any more questions with us. Okay, I think that is it. Thank you so much, ma'am. You touched upon a lot today. You talked about how it is important to, voice our opinion and, raise our voices. You talked about the hard work. You talked about motherhood, work-life balance, how to handle rejections, and so much more that I will not be able to say right now. So thank you so much for coming here, for accepting our invitation and being so candid with us, sharing your journey, sharing the moments where you felt low, sharing about how you felt insecure at the beginning of your journey. All of this, listening to all of this here is inspiring and encouraging to a lot of us. So that means a lot, and thank you so much, ma'am.